What's up, Florida Gearheads? It's Brie here. We're here at Modern Muscle Cars today in Ocala, and we have the general manager, Mike. He's going to tell us a little bit about the Backdraft Cobra. But first, Mike, tell us a little bit about what you guys do here at the shop.
Well, we specialize in muscle cars, obviously. Typically not the run-of-the-mill muscle car that you might find in any dealer's lot. Most of what we have is supercharged. In most cases, they're very unique, like the Cobras that we have, the Cobra replicas. We have some Hellcats that we bumped into the 1100 horsepower range.
Oh, wow.
Typically, we'll bring a car in here and we'll make it faster than the factory. So that's kind of what our specialty is here.
Awesome, that's great. All right, now tell us a little bit about this Cobra here. What you got?
This is a Backdraft Racing Cobra. They are these are factory-built cars. There are replicas that you can get and do yourself. These are all factory-built in South Africa. Oh, wow. They bring them up here to South Florida, and dealers can choose what motors they want in them. Some have the new 5.0 Coyotes. Some have the old style 427 motors. If you special order one, you can pick and choose what motor you want, and the options as well. And they are very unique. They're replicas of the exact 65 Shelby Cobra that Mr. Shelby used to drive.
Right.
And a real one can cost much more than
Much
a replica. Much more.
Right.
So they're kind of popular that a guy can be in what used to be you know, Shelby's own race car, and you can have one in your own driveway for a fraction of the cost.
Absolutely. And how fast would you say these cars go?
Well, I really don't know what top speed might be on them, but they're in the 500 horsepower range.
Right.
And with they only weigh 2,300 pounds, so they'd be very, very, very fast.
Right, exactly. Makes it good for speed. What's unique about these cars, do you think? What's the most unique thing to you?
I guess the most unique thing is that you can buy a 1965, their title is 1965 cars, and yet they're brand new. Everything about them is brand new. The motors are new, everything.
Right.
So you can drive a new car, yet it's still a 1965.
Right.
The insurance is very cheap on them because you can title them as you tag them as a classic car.
Classic car, right.
And you just don't see them everywhere. There are not that many of them out there. So it's unique. They get a lot of attention everywhere we go. You can't get gas without a crowd gathering around you.
Oh, wow, right. That's awesome.
One thing unique about these cars is they have the knockoff wheels. They have a spinner that actually just spins. The entire wheel comes off much like a race car. But if you notice the cable that goes through here, that's attached to this, that's designed so that the wheel don't unspin itself, come undone, and come off while you're going down the highway. But it's actually only on there for looks. This is the way the actual Shelby was. So these today have locks on them so that they won't unspin themselves. But to keep the tradition and to keep the look, we still have the cables.
Okay.
These objects here on the front, a lot of people ask what those are. They're on there today because that's what the original 65 had. Back in the old days, they would put a bar across that and lift the car up. That's what they used to jack the car up. Today, of course, we have jacks that we don't need to do that, so no longer applies. But again, to keep with tradition and to make it look as original as possible, those are still installed on these cars today.
Awesome. Right.
Those are just really high intensity, the LEDs.
They're LED.
Again, to keep it on a modern scale, we changed out the headlights. They don't come that way. We can order them that way, but we change our headlights out.
Right.
So the driver going down the road is going to scare a deer way down the road.
Definitely, because I see those look a little more like
those
original.
are the old style, just like would come in any other old street car.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool.
This is the new 5.0 Coyote motor. This is the motor that comes in the new Mustangs. They call it a Coyote motor. It has 4 cams, and these are maintenance free, much like the new Mustangs. You can drive them for 100,000 miles without changing spark plugs or anything. So a lot of the guys like the, you know, the reliability and the maintenance-free aspect of this new modern motor. Other guys, they want the 427, like in the Ruby Cobra. It's the old style. It's actually a 351 block, 351 Cleveland bored and stroked to a 427. They have a huge cam. It's got the old school thump, the great sound. Some people prefer to keep these cars old school. Some do not. In this case, this car is even more unique in that it's got a 6-speed automatic. Most people prefer the stick shift on these cars, again, to keep with the old school look and style.
Right.
But some people have hip problems. Some people don't care for the shifting experience. I don't really care that much for it. So we have this one with a 6-speed automatic. Simply put it in drive and go. Then the Ruby went outside. The Ruby has a 5-speed Tremec transmission. And today, now if you order a Backdraft today, they all come with a 6-speed manual. And so the 5 speeds are no longer even being installed.
So Mike, tell us a little bit about like what sparked your passion for cars, modern cars, whatever.
Well, I guess I've always had a passion for cars. I grew up, my dad was a big car guy, had to have big horsepower with everything that he owned. And my first car was a 70 Challenger with a 340 6-pack. I was 16 at the time. So I've always had a muscle car, so it was just a natural fit. Once the muscle car revolution came back in the early 2000s, it just seemed the natural thing to do to get, you know, into some bigger and badder, faster cars.
Right.
So that's how we came by modern muscle cars.
Awesome, that's great. All right, Mike, so tell us, our viewers, where we can find you, how we can contact you, and a little bit about your sales and what you do.
Well, we have a 5,000 square foot indoor showroom here in Ocala. We're at 53 Laurel Pass, just off Baseline Road. You can also see all of our inventory online at ocalamuscle.com. And we sell cars all over the world. We ship cars, I've shipped cars to France and Germany and England and the Netherlands and even in Japan. We have a couple of Mustangs in Japan. So we don't just sell locally, we sell all over the world, but lots of cars to look at if people want to come by.
For sure, guys. Come check out Modern Muscle Cars here in Ocala. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you, Mike, for your time and showing us a little bit about the Backdraft Cobra.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
I think I'm right on this. I mean, I've read it, but you know, everything you read on the internet may not be true. But they originally built 2 of these for Carroll Shelby. They were 800 horsepower cars, and he raced them. And one of them he sold to Bill Cosby.
Oh, wow.
Bill Cosby drove it once and said it was way too fast. He was going to kill himself. So he sold it to a gentleman out in California who did run it off a cliff and destroyed the car and killed himself.
Oh, wow.
So that left one that was Carroll Shelby's own car. When it went through auction some time ago, it brought $5.5 million.